Tom.
And Rumble.
And welcome to the happy hour. So, this is going to be pretty much our last part in this whole depression awareness thing that we've been doing the past month. This one is going to be centered around how music can help people through those times.
Definitely, yeah. Music can help you through a lot of hard times.
Right. I think we've all kind of been in situations where, a certain song or a certain band can help us through some difficult situations.
You're driving in the car and a song comes on. It's like, man, take it back, to a different time.
Right. Excuse me. So, there's a couple things I just want to make some key points on here. I took some time to write.
How is everybody this week? I mean, it was an interesting week though too. Like it was.
Yeah.
It's been,
It's been interesting.
You said you were in a funk a little bit. I was in a little bit of a funk this week, and
I just couldn't get my shit together to save my life this week.
Yeah, it seemed like everything I did fought me this week, and it's like one of those weeks. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So I'm just asking everybody how everybody is, out there. We care,
Yeah, it's definitely been a week. Nothing terrible. Just I
one of those
didn't
days.
feel like doing anything really.
Did you do anything? No.
We did some stuff around the house. No, we did. I started straightening up the studio here a little more.
Yeah, it looks a little bit nicer.
Starting to winterize it a bit.
Yeah, winter's coming.
It is.
Not looking forward to that, especially the heating bill.
That
gives you depression right there.
So getting back to it, I think one of the reasons why you and I get along so well is we have very similar taste in music.
We do.
And, I never really paid too much attention to it until very recently. Again, we keep going back to the Metallica concert we were at over the summer. And, the experience we had there was more about the human side of the music than the actual music,
Definitely.
But, I have a short thing here I want to read here, and this goes to, how music can help somebody through depression or, just bad moments in their life, So, number one, it gives people a voice when they can't speak. Depression often makes people feel isolated and misunderstood. Music, both listening and creating, allows someone to express emotions that are too complex or painful for words. When someone hears a lyric or a melody that mirrors what they feel, it reminds them, I'm not alone in this. That recognition can be life-saving. I don't know about you, but I know there's a couple songs, and I'm not going to name them right now, but a couple songs that I can be in a crappy mood, a shitty mood, or just in a funk.
Yeah.
Whatever. And hear those songs and maybe not snap out of it, but definitely feel better about the situation.
Definitely. One that comes to mind is Bill Withers. Lean on me. You can always lean on me, brother. When you're not strong.
Right.
I'll be your friend, brother.
The other thing, it creates an emotional release and regulation. Music helps release built-up emotion. It can help make people cry, scream, or simply feel something again when numbness sets in. On a neurological level, music activates brain regions tied to emotion, memory, and pleasure, even in people who feel detached from joy. We can never go a damn podcast without your phone blowing up.
Hey, I'm a popular man. What can you say? I said I always keep my phone on, guys, so you know what? You can always reach me, but not when I'm doing the podcast. Whoever it is, I'm not going to blow you up, but stop texting me. No.
But
sorry.
Now I lost my whole train of thought.
I know, I'm such a bad person.
But so music, I'm not a super serious musician, but I do play.
You're pretty good.
Doesn't
make you dangerous.
What's that?
No, just enough to make you dangerous,
But I do know, like, for me, when I do actually write a song, I don't usually share it too much. It's very personal to me.
Right.
For me, it's more, like my diary.
Like getting your feelings out, like putting it on paper,
And I don't necessarily need anybody to hear it. It's just me being able to get it out there.
Yeah.
and
Sometimes that's all you need, you know.
It's like the catharsis,
Yeah.
you know.
It's therapeutic, you know.
It is.
Seeing it actually on, you know, writing it on paper, or you know, hearing it in the chord that you're strumming, you know, whatever.
Right, and that's why I always felt like I'd make a terrible professional musician, because I don't like putting stuff out there. Like when I write something, it's for me. It's not for somebody else.
I mean, you could write it and I could sing it, because you know I think I'd make a great front man, because I love sex, I love drugs, and I love rock and roll. You know. Kidding.
All the things that lead to depression.
We don't want to do that.
But you know, I it's a little bit different when you're on the creative side to it than when you're on the listening side of it.
Right.
You know, because those are
your feelings,
and your thoughts. And you know, I get it. I think maybe if I were ever in a situation where I would record something and play it and somebody connected to it, I think I would be inclined to do it more. It's just,
right.
You know, I just...
You didn't take that step yet. You haven't taken that step.
I probably never will, because, again, it's too personal for me. You know, I'll share some things here and there with people, but it doesn't usually go any further than that.
Well, you can always share to me. No judge zone over here, you know?
Right. Well, and it's not even that. It's just not everything I write is meant to be heard by anyone other than me.
True.
You know, and it kind of...
You don't want to be rich or famous, that's fine. It's cool.
I didn't say it was
keep
good.
all those top tens, you know, keep all those top tens in your head, you know, you can all do that.
I didn't say they were good. But you know, get back to the point where, you know, music can really
help you.
A lot of people say it can't save you, but I really think it can.
It can, yes, it can. Now there is a dark hole too, where music can also take you down to the you know, if you're into that darkness, you know, music, and hopefully you don't get.
But you know, it's funny that you said that, because I know some people who are in that very, very dark, evil, and they're actually like some of the most normal people I've ever met in my life.
I wonder if it's just because it gives them that almost like an avenue to release that inner, you know?
Right. So here, I found an essay online. I don't know who wrote it. It actually didn't credit anybody.
An essay?
An essay. Yeah.
Oh, an essay.
So it's titled "How Heavy Metal Saves the Depressed." All right. So bear with me. This is my monologue here. So it says, they say heavy metal is too loud, too angry, too dark. But maybe that's because they never heard silence so loud it crushes your chest.
Ooh.
Maybe they've never been alone with a mind that whispers, and you don't matter, and a heart that beats like a war drum and no one else can hear it. Metal doesn't tell you to smile. It doesn't lie to you with sunshine and serenity. It says, yeah, life hurts, and here's how that pain sounds when you turn it into power. The guitars growl, the drums thunder, the screams tear open the void, and for a moment the storm inside you finally matches the storm outside. Music doesn't make you angry. It takes your anger away. Every riff, every scream, every lyric is a confession you never knew you could make. It's permission to feel without apology. When you're drowning in grief, metal throws you a lifeline, woven from distortion, defiance, and the simple truth that you are not alone. Because when you stand in that crowd and the lights go black and the first note hits your ribs like thunder, you remember what it means to be alive. You scream the words not because you're broken, but because you're healing. Heavy metal doesn't glorify pain, it purges it. It doesn't worship death, it defies it. And for some reason, the sound of chaos, that wall of noise, isn't just music. It's the heartbeat we couldn't find in ourselves. Heavy metal doesn't save you by making life pretty. It saves you by making life bearable, by screaming when you can't, by surviving when you almost didn't. And again, I wish I could credit somebody for that, but there was no credit to be found online. But
that was very
right. Wow, that resonates me
definitely,
or resonates with me, simply because I think the great thing about music, and especially the heavy metal community, which I'm a proud member of, it's my go-to music. I think you're a card-carrying member as well.
Yeah, I'm a card carrying. I hold cards and other music too, but
I think the heavy metal community as a whole is more of a community trying to empower others than most other music communities.
I do believe that. You know,
You
it's
know,
just it's a different community. You know, like I saw something. You know, it was, I don't know, a little bit ways back where, you know, guy was wearing a Slayer shirt, and you know, other guys walking down the street, he's wearing a Slayer shirt, and you know, they just say Slayer, you know, and
right.
the other guy's Slayer, and at that moment they knew, you know, they were on the same level. You know what I mean? They knew that, you know, Slayer, you know, and shit,
And I
Slayer rocks.
and I can remember being a young kid, not a young kid, early teenage years, going to my first show
Right.
and seeing it was an Ozfest, seeing the 100,000 people there and
Mayhem.
how completely intimidating that situation is.
Especially when you're at the wall of death.
Right. but you walk in and you know I was wearing, funny enough, Slayer t-shirt,
Nice.
and people I've never met come up to me.
Fuck Slayer.
Right. You know, it's one community where it doesn't matter, and I know a lot of people say this, but I'm part of this community, and I know this to be fact. It doesn't matter what you look like.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter how much money you make. Doesn't matter what your attitude is. If you're happy, glad, sad, indifferent. It doesn't matter what color you are.
Right.
It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. When you go to a show, a heavy metal show, you are amongst family.
Right. If you're not a poser.
Even then, I think the fact, I think of all the communities of music, the heavy metal community gets it the most.
They do.
Because the fans are probably the biggest part of that community.
Yeah.
Yes, we have bands. I'm not taking anything away from there, and I could go on and on listing bands. But they understand at the very fundamental meaning of this whole community is the fans. The fans are the ones buying the merch. The fans are the ones buying the tickets. The fans are the ones buying the music. That sense of community, like, I don't feel like, and this sounds weird, but I don't feel like I'm just a fan listening to music. I feel like I'm part of it.
Right.
Maybe
right.
not part of the band, but I'm definitely part of the movement or the community, right. You know.
I mean, I saw a lot of times the lead singer of Disturbed.
Right.
You know, would come, you know, he's very personal too. Like, he'll stop the show.
Yes.
Be like, you know, I saw one that, you know, there was a young kids and the mom there, and you know, the young kids are like, yeah, we, you know, listening with my mom. You know, my mom brought us up, and
right.
He was like, yo, your mom's pretty damn cool, you know, and that's actually, it means a lot, you know, when you look up at somebody and you idolize them, and they just, you know, take a few minutes out of their time and out of the show, and just, you know, bullshit like a regular person. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's and you know, you gave that fan a little bit of appreciation. You know, that fan felt, you know, like, wow, damn, cool.
And the reality of it is, I go to a concert because I want that outlet. I want that connection.
Right.
For me, like, you were a lot like me in the early 2000s.
Oh my God.
Spent a lot of time at
Croc Rock.
We used to kid around, me and my group of friends at the time, that we were going to church.
Yep.
Because that's literally what it felt like sometimes, because we knew we could go there, be surrounded by people that were the same as us. They might not be the same as us, but they're the same as us.
Yeah.
And come out of there, maybe a little tired, couldn't talk, maybe a little beat up from the mosh pit, but you came out of there feeling like a new
$100.
person.
Yeah, you did. It was almost like therapy. It really was. And you know what? I miss Croc Rock because, you know, a lot of people, you know, yeah, Croc Rock, it was a small little venue, but dude, seen some killer fucking shows at Croc Rock.
Yep.
And half the time, like, we sat here the one night, and I was at that one. We were at multiple shows together.
We didn't
even know each other, but we were there. You know, I remember, you know, just I mean, I saw Clutch there how many times? That was phenomenal. I mean, I love Clutch. You know,
but for me, like I can tell you, like when I first got into the music, I was more into like the punk rock.
Right. Okay.
You know, I had some friends in school.
Like Sex Pistols and
Yeah, Social Distortion,
No
Pennywise,
FX.
No
Yeah,
FX.
yeah.
You
Dead
know,
Kennedys.
that yeah, I ended up like even getting into the drop kick of Murphys a little bit later.
Yeah, Dropkick.
Yeah.
I got down with them.
But
I wasn't a punk kid though. You know, I didn't have the. We had one kid in our school in my grade that he had the Liberty Spikes, which I
Right.
thought was awesome, dude. I was like, dude, he'd sometimes wear a kilt, and I'm like, yo, bro, like that's cool.
yep.
You know, fucking do it. You know.
So it went from there. For me, it went from there because I think as you get older, it's harder to connect to those lyrics into that music. And I'm not saying
Because we're old fucks.
no, not even that. I'm not even saying anything bad about the music. I still love those bands. I still
Right.
love punk rock. I can't relate to it as much as I used to. I think as you get older, it's less about rebellion and less about telling, you know, people the way it is and from your
Yeah.
viewpoint. And it's more about conveying who you are to people. It's more about having music that can speak to the day-to-day trials that everybody goes through. And I think that's where heavy music, heavy metal, metalcore, even death metal to some extent can you know fill that.
Right. Right.
Because I know if I still was into the kind of music I was into when I was 16 and I couldn't relate to anything other than that, I didn't grow or mature a lot since 16.
Right. But you still have some respect for it.
Oh, I do. Listen,
Right.
listen, I don't care if there is a musician out there, I don't care what instrument he plays, I don't care if he doesn't play an instrument. I don't care if he is putting in the work.
Oh hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's doing it. He's you know on stage performing. I don't care if I like your music or not. I have respect for you
Right.
because you're doing it. You know.
I got a little story. So talk about old and young, you know, music. So I got tickets. I wanted to go see me and my buddy. My buddy was a few years younger than me, and more into the metal than I was. Well, I mean, I was in the metal, but he was more into the harder shit.
Right.
So there was Reverb down in Reading.
Mhm.
We went there to see. I wanted to see All the Remains. I remember All the Remains, and they're pretty good band. You know, I really like them.
And not to cut you off, but they're one of the bands that early on into like getting into the heavier metal, the metalcore
Mm-hmm.
stuff. They're one of the bands that I connected with because their music deals with a lot of the topics we discussed in the past couple of weeks.
Right, and that's why I liked, they came out like early 2000, like 2000s, maybe a little bit like 2004, whatever. So they were playing with this band called Attila, and I had no idea what Attila was. And let me tell you, Attila came out and they fucking rocked. Like these young kids were like, I was like, shit, like this reminds me of me when I was their age, like. And first I'm seeing all these young kids. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is like? I call them crusty kids because they could like look kind of like, crusty kids. The crusty kids. But dude, they rock so hard that I actually a little bit I felt bad for All Our Remains because they had to come behind them, and it's like the Attila stole the show, dude. That guy, like him or not, some people say he raps or whatever. Some people not like him, but he raps, he screams, he does whatever. But dude, he's on stage, he has a lot of energy, man.
I got into Attila not because I found Attila, but because one of my favorite bands at the time was Amur, and they had a big rivalry.
Oh, they had that big beef,
yeah. So
they're something else. I'll tell you what they are. A lot of energy, and but that's how like it was cool because I'm sitting there as an old head. I'm sitting there like, fuck, like I'm. Since when did I become the old head? Like, I'm looking like these kids are like, 17, 18. And I'm like, damn, I am the old head. Shit, dude, I don't want to be that weird old head. But I wasn't that weird old head.
No, and I can remember the first time one of my all-time favorite bands, even to this day, is Killswitch Engage.
Love them.
I can remember the first time I heard My Last Serenade.
Oh. I used to blast that all the time.
That's the song that hooked me on them. I really like that
Like Tears
band.
Don't Fall.
And, I think that's
Bullet from a Valentine. Sorry. But,
it was, I didn't know it at the time, but coming back and kind of researching what their music is about. Did you know both of their lead singers suffer from some kind of mental illness?
Oh wow,
or depression or anxiety.
I did not.
I didn't know that till later. That's actually why Jesse Leach left,
And then you had
and then Howard Jones come in, and
I
that's
liked-
why he left.
right. I liked Howard
And
Jones.
then Jesse came back.
You know, and some people, they say, "Oh, I didn't like Howard Jones." Dude, Howard Jones had a hell of a voice.
I like
them both.
I like them both.
Right.
And I think it worked with them because both of their singers
We're battling that.
were
Same
battling
demon.
that.
Right.
You know, maybe not the same thing, but they definitely had some issues there. And I believe I posted this on our Facebook page a few weeks ago, but there's actually an interview with Jesse Leach where he talks about it.
Right.
And if you haven't already, go to our Facebook page and check it out. It's interesting, how he a bike. He found a bike in the back of the studio and got on it and rode it, and that's what kind of got him to realize
bicycle?
Like a bicycle.
Okay, cool.
Right. And now to this day he
was an avid
bikes.
biker. Cool.
Right. So, but I said that because you never know where you're gonna find something that'll bring you
back or down.
Yeah.
Or
It'll
bring back down to earth. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
bring you
and
off
me,
of that cliff.
And for me, it's music. It's always been music. Like,
I mean, there's hardly a time where, shit. It's just regular day. If it's TV or it's music, dude, I have the music on. I'll have music on all day. I go to work. I put my earbuds in. I listen to music all day, or hardly. Sometimes I'll listen to some podcasts that I listen to, but it's always music, and maybe that's because and I like country. I like rap. I like pretty much anything that has a really good beat and I can get something out of it. I like and
right.
I without music, I don't know what I would do. I honestly, like, music's helped me throughout the years. Has helped me through every walk of life. Just you're feeling sad. You listen to something and okay, no, I'm not feeling so sad anymore. Or
and I'm an easy person to read because if you ever want to know how I'm feeling that day,
look at my face. Yep.
Not even my face. Listen to the music I'm listening to. That'll tell you what you need to know. Now, I will say this. I'm not into the bubblegum feel-good music.
Well, I mean,
never have been.
I think it was, last week I walked by their house and you were listening to I'm a Barbie girl.
It absolutely was
in a
not
Barbie
me.
world.
That might have been next door, but it wasn't me. But yeah, I'm not, and I'm not knocking the music. It's not my thing, and I think it's because it is. Ooh, let's all feel good about everybody and everything in life.
Rainbows and
that's
bubblegum and lollipops and all
right,
that
and
good
that's
stuff.
just that doesn't connect with me. If it connects with you, great. It doesn't connect with me. I'm not a top 40 guy. I'm not
I'm not too much of the pop anymore.
I'm not pop.
I like the old. See, I'm nostalgic, dude. I like, Green Day. Bush.
I do too. But my you've been around me enough to know my musical taste goes from.
I like that '90s stuff.
Right.
The stuff when it brings you back to high school. You know?
Right. But you've been around me enough to know my musical choices and tastes. Like, I'll listen to Johnny Cash one song, and then listen to Slipknot.
Yeah.
And then come back and listen to Elvis, and then listen to.
You're exactly like me.
Right, and then.
And I when we first started hanging out, I thought I would stump you in a lot of music that I would play and be like, "Yo, this is gonna throw him off," and motherfucker knew it.
Yep.
I'm like, son of a bitch.
Music is a big thing. Like, I can normally know a song in the first
few chords,
2 or 3 notes.
Yeah.
And it's getting harder. Not because music's getting more complex, because it's actually nothing is original right now to me.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things. Like, I like a lot of bands.
It's just
like,
it seems like everything's blended together.
I really like Sleep Token.
I do. You got me onto them.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you listen to their lyrics, that's a lot of dark shit.
It is very dark.
Evil. That's
it's a lot of dark shit.
Personal stuff.
Yes. And that President.
I like President.
President.
Too.
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome band. And that's a lot of deep stuff too.
Yeah.
That's really you know,
That's the stuff that grabs me. Bad Omens. I don't know if you listen to them at all.
a little bit. Who's the guy I've been seeing a lot on like my feeds and stuff? Alex Terrible.
Alex Terrible from Slaughter to Prevail. Yeah,
Dude, Slaughter to Prevail. Dude, that guy is wicked.
they're brutal. Yeah,
Wicked.
I like them. I can't really connect to their music, but
he is. Dude,
Yeah.
he's downright. You look at that. He's a big dude, and he's a scary motherfucker.
He bare knuckle boxes.
Ugh, I heard
he wrestles bears.
I heard he wrestled bear. Like
He wrestles
he's Russian.
bears. He is.
I think Russian, yeah.
They live in Florida now.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right. Good for them.
So
From Russia to Florida, shit, he's living the good life.
yeah.
if
Well, there's a story behind.
I was a
that.
bear, I'd be scared of him.
Yeah, he's a big dude, you know. But
And anybody that doesn't know who we're talking about, check it out. His name's Alex. Alex Terrible.
Slaughter to Prevail's his band.
He's probably about 260, all tatted up.
He's a big dude.
White eyes. He has the
I don't know
contact,
if
whatever.
he's 260. He wears sometimes that demon
The
mask.
mask, yep.
Yep.
But no, he's a big dude. He's a big dude. I want to fuck with him.
He'll go up there and they'll cut the mic and he'll scream. And not even in the mic.
Yeah.
You can hear him without the mic.
It's crazy. It honestly sounds like he's demonic. Like he's getting out those demonic whatever. And it's just wow.
He's definitely working something out.
Yeah. For sure.
And if you happen to watch this, we love you, Alex.
Yeah. Hey, cool. It's like $40. I could be down in Florida tomorrow. Hey, you ever want to?
He'll cut some backing vocals for
Yeah,
you.
we drink some beers, whatever. Whatever.
Wrestle a bear.
Wrestle a bear. Show me how to wrestle a bear. I'll wrestle one.
But yeah, so music's kind of always been the key to a lot of things for me.
Yeah.
But
And I don't know, I'm not a musician. In high school I had played in a little band, here and there, but I know from that little experience, but when you see, as a musician, when you see people getting into your music and, finding something out of your music, that's got to be, it has to make you feel a certain way, like good inside, like you're doing something good for somebody, like people are getting something from your music,
It does, and I've always been in a situation where when I played, I would play other people's music. It was never anything that I wrote.
True.
But the few times I have shared things that I wrote, and you get that connection, it is. It makes you feel.
Gives you almost that drive to keep on.
Yeah.
Going more and pushing more.
I don't know how to put it into words. Like, if you're sitting there playing a piece of music you wrote or singing lyrics that you or both, and you look across the dining room or across the basement or across the fire company or wherever it is you happen to be, and you make that eye contact with anybody, and you can see the connection. That's a very powerful. Very, very powerful thing. Like, there was a point in time, like I was really big into it when I was younger. Had a bunch of guitars. I had one point in my house when I lived on the other side of town, had a full band and studio in my house.
Nice.
I had the drums, the bass, a bunch of guitars, amps, the soundboards, the everything, and I don't know, like adulthood hit me, started selling some stuff out.
And I feel like there's not. So I was talking about Mikey, the guy that I work with. He hooks up with the cigars. Back in the day there used to be more battle of the band, things going on, and because he was in a band one time, and he would talk about playing the battle of the bands.
Right.
You don't hear too much of that anymore. Maybe it's just I'm not listening, but I don't hear too much.
I don't know of any locally anymore.
They used to do that a lot. Battle of the bands.
Spankies.
Yeah.
Broadheadsville used to have it. I think it was a Wednesday night or a Thursday night.
Yeah.
But no, it's
you do a lot of open mic night, but it's no.
You do,
but
it's
low key.
That's different, and that's people who. And I'm not knocking them. They're the open mics I've been to, and I know a couple people go to open mics now, and they're phenomenal musicians.
Right.
But I think what you're talking about is much different than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing that I know that's around.
I think the state of local live music itself is in perpetual decline.
I wonder if that was maybe COVID hurt that or what?
I think so. I also think that there's a cost associated with touring and playing out, whether you're
Even the entertainment, you have to pay like a. Doesn't a bar have to pay a certain entertainment?
well, they do, but the thing of it is like if you're a band, okay, if you're a local band, the first challenge you have, and this is becoming more of a seminar than what we were originally intending this in to be, but uh, it's hard. It's hard to go play anywhere. It's hard to make any kind of money. You know, you can't. I don't know of many bands that start out as an original band,
Right.
Because who wants to come? Who's going to pay money to come listen to songs they don't know?
True, but then
Yeah.
I also feel like isn't it easier nowadays with the platforms and the technology that we
It
have?
is, but that doesn't translate to live music, though.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Because I can tell you, I can't count the amount of bands that I've heard on a record.
And then you went to a
and
show and
went
they're
to see
shit.
them live, and they sounded like shit. And that's
Yeah.
not. There's 100 different reasons why they could.
I mean,
sound
could
like
have
shit.
a bad sound guy,
Right.
you know, or
But I don't think that translates well. So what do we have left in Lehighton? 2 bars.
yeah, if that. I mean,
We have
Griff's.
Griff's, and we have Bonnie and Clyde's.
Yeah, and that's more of a restaurant.
More of a
slash, yeah.
restaurant. But and then we have over in Franklin Township, we have the Boatyard, and that seems to be the only place here within the confines of our town that has live music. And I don't even know that they do that
Anymore because of the owner.
consistently.
Because of the owner.
Well, I think they still have live music.
But yeah,
I don't think it's consistent like
No.
every weekend.
No, it's not.
Now, in the early 2000s,
They used to have shows there all the time. There was,
well, everywhere, like when Bankers was open, they'd have bands every Friday and Saturday night.
well, they said.
I
I think somebody was telling me. I don't know if they were older or whatever. They were telling me in the 50s. The 50s, there was like a rock and roll club or whatever, something like they'd have dances and, it was like a hall.
Right. I don't remember. I can tell you we had a live venue now where the pool place is on Bridge Street. Not the pool, but the spa, pool and spa place there.
Yeah, that's yep.
There used to be a music venue in there. I think there's just so much cost with it.
Right.
Actually, the next to the antiques place right up the street here
By Kovacs, yeah.
by Kovacs, I think the half of the building closest to Kovacs had live music there at one point too.
Nice.
But I think there's just there's so much that goes into it with insurance and things
Yeah,
like that. Like
right.
I'm perplexed sometimes that we live in a town that has a beautiful park and a beautiful band hall like we have here, and we don't use that every weekend. Like,
I mean, maybe that's something to think about too. Maybe the avenue of going having a battle of the bands at the amphitheater.
Right.
I mean, and and now tying this all together is if there was an avenue for some young musicians to get together with other musicians and maybe collaborate on some things, and like that's beating depression right there. Just getting with people that are
right.
in the music and into the same thing you're into.
For those of you who've never been to a live concert in your life,
you gotta go.
You gotta go. And I don't care what kind of music you're into. There's no experience that you can describe.
I mean, I've seen a lot of shows, and I tell everybody, it doesn't matter what it is. It is, dude. I went to go see. It was at Oktoberfest at Steel Stacks. It was Pink Floyd, polka, Pink Floyd, polka. they played Pink Floyd music, but with the accordions and the whole polka thing. I was like, at first I was like, dude, I ain't going. That's corny as heck. And then I was like, dude, it was awesome. That it was an experience. I was like, damn, I was blown away.
But
and it just made me, it put me in a happy mood. Like, damn,
right.
Fucking accordions. Who knew that accordions couldn't rock?
Right. But to circle back to our original topic with music and depression, like going to a concert can really help you out. And then I know sometimes if you're going through depression, like actually getting out the door and going,
it's the hard part.
Is the hard part. But you're gonna meet 9 chances out of 10, you're gonna meet 6 or 7 people in the line before you even get into venues
Yep.
that are going through the same shit you're going
Yep.
through.
And there's no sense of like there's such a sense of community, especially when you're at the festival
Right.
type of deals. Like everybody's looking out for each other. Like everybody's just
I've gone to concerts in monsoons. I've gone to concerts where the AC in the venue broke.
I've been
I've been to concerts in the most shittiest situations, and I've never gone to a show and had a bad time.
No.
Even if the band sucks, the people.
Yeah, the energy. I think it's
right.
It might have something to do with the energy. And so many people in that area and so many good energy. Like it's got to rub off. Like that energy rubs off. I feel like it does, because you come out of a show and you're jacked up. You're all recharged. It doesn't matter what you're feeling before the show. At the show, you're feeling recharged. You're feeling, full.
Right.
So I think check out more shows. I mean, feeling depressed, go to a show, and then even honestly, even like I know like Grumpy's down in Lehigh Valley, they have like bands that comes in and they they play like bluesy music. Some of that stuff's pretty cool too. Just go see a band at a bar. Just getting out, getting out with people that are moving and grooving and laughing and and I know it's hard to get some people it's hard to get out of that dark hole that you're in, but
well, at the end of the day, there's always light.
There is. And there's always a hand. There's somebody, always a hand to help you out.
And sometimes the light's going to be in many different forms. It's going to be in the form of your best friend or your significant other or your parents or a stranger, maybe even.
Stranger danger?
Other times it's going to be in the form of music or in, art, painting a picture or...
I can't paint. All my stick figures look like they have dicks.
But
too far.
But it's a difficult situation, and I just think music can help you through that.
Absolutely.
And don't be afraid to listen to songs that you think are going to depress you, because they're probably not going to. They're written from somebody who's gone through that.
Right. Like one of my favorite songs is again Metallica, Fades Black. I mean, that song is just like gives goosebumps when you listen to that song. And like growing up, I really didn't listen to the lyrics too much, but now as I'm older, I can feel those lyrics. Like you ever get a song like you listen to them when you were younger, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, they rocked. I know who they are, but then as you get older, you actually feel those lyrics, and you actually know what that song is about. Now that you've been through life, you've been through some fucking shit, and you've been beat down, and because life sucks. Life is rough.
One of my favorite songs. It's a more recent song, but it's "Snuff" by Slipknot.
That's a powerful song.
Yeah,
very powerful. Song.
Don't hear the name Slipknot and be like, oh.
No, that's a very.
This
powerful
couldn't
song.
be further away than what you think Slipknot sounds like.
Corey Taylor
is a very, very powerful. Very. If that song doesn't grab you somehow, you probably should get your pulse checked.
Right.
Another song by the same singer, different band, Stone Sour, is "Bother."
Bother, yeah.
Great song. Shinedown's been really coming through with a bunch of songs that I really relate to.
I like. It's gonna say you can like his political views or not, but Aaron Lewis sings some really deep and some songs that really hit close to the heart. Like some of those songs like literally will bring tears to your eyes a little bit.
I don't ever judge a musician by his political views, because everybody's entitled to their views.
Right.
I judge them by their creative product.
Right. And I always like the band that I can't. What the heck was the band who? Aaron Lewis. He was in Stained. That's it. Stained. It's on the tip of my tongue. Like, damn.
And like that whole genre, that '90s nu metal.
Right.
All right. So let's think about the bands that came out of that, and let's think about the things that they write about. Korn.
Yep.
Depression, anxiety.
He was a tweet. He's a Korn. David.
Jonathan Davis.
Known addiction with
Yeah.
Well, with methamphetamine, all that. He was a
yeah.
known tweaker.
He do some research on him. He's had a very interesting life, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like if there's a guy that you can look at and say
he made
it through the darkest hole, he
Yep.
made it out.
Right.
His story is one of them.
And sobriety looks good on him because I just saw him.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I saw him at Camden at the waterfront, and dude, he rocked. I mean, you get those bands, he was a lot better when he was drinking and doing drugs. Nah, he sounds amazing. Still.
And I'm not saying this to advocate for Marilyn Manson, but I'm saying Marilyn Manson, now that he is sober, I've watched a ton of videos.
Did you see him? He is. Dude, he is.
Yeah,
he's built.
He definitely, and he's becoming more outspoken about not being who he was.
Right, and that song that he came out with, Falling in Reverse, God is a Weapon.
Yep.
Holy hell. Those two, whoever brought those two together, give you a clap, because those two together, dude, they blow you away.
Another band during that time that came out, oh my God, I can't think of their name now. Deftones. They have some very deep, powerful music.
They do, yep. Even,
what?
3 Doors Down, shit. You can, what's the one that got here? 3 Days Grace, and they're coming out with a new album. Which
3 Days Grace, yeah.
Did they drop their new album yet or not?
I don't know if they dropped a new album yet.
But I know there was Puddle of Mud. That's another big one that was big. The same POD.
But if you like rap, there's Dax, who a lot of what he raps about is...
See, but a lot of people I don't think know Dax because he's an independent, he's a
Good.
YouTube thing, but he's phenomenal.
Go check out Dax, DAX. He is phenomenal. If you like rap, he's great. And he talks about a lot
depression,
of...
I mean, anxiety.
A lot of these issues, because he deals with them.
Right. He has a few about, alcoholism, it's just, he's really, he's smart. His words, like I don't know how he didn't, I don't think he wants a label. I think he wants to be an independent, like something like he doesn't want to sign and be influenced, right.
But the thing of it is, we also live in a time now where having a record label is the least important it's ever been.
Right.
Because you can put a song out and get it to everybody.
Within
and
minutes.
As long as you have somebody good on the marketing side or social media side, or you're good on social media, you can get people there. And then they're going to share. And before you know it, there's times where independent artists are getting more plays and views than signed artists.
It's crazy.
So
it's a crazy world that we live in.
And there's an avenue for everybody too. If you're going through some stuff and you want people to hear what you have to say, is record it. You can buy recording software, and it might not sound the best, but it'll be enough to get your message out there. You can buy recording equipment and software for less than a few $100 and have at it. Look at it as
there's different communities too out there that everybody's in a room, like a virtual room, and you're talking, whatever, and I hear a lot of that on what is that, Twitch. A lot of people will play games on Twitch, and they
Reddit. I'm very indifferent with Reddit because there's some
dark. Yeah,
Reddit is like the Wild West, but that doesn't mean you can't find
Reddit's almost like the Craigslist of the early days.
Right. So it is. Yeah, it's like a forum-based Craigslist. And look, it's the Wild West, and I say that and I mean it. But there are some genuinely good Reddits out there.
Yeah, there is. There really is.
You got to understand what you're getting into.
You gotta weed out the
bullshit,
and the stupid people that sit there and be like, and give you dumb answers. Like, nah, fucking trolls. Sit down.
And that's the other thing, too, is especially with online, understand that people are just going to say what they're going to say, not because they actually believe it or actually think you are what they say you are. They're just going to say it because they're trolls.
Right. And we're like the last generation that's been, because, I mean, we were born before the technology hit. We were out there, we were out there riding our bikes, and then all of a sudden the internet came, and we were the first generation to experience and live through this internet craze and everything. So that's that's a little depressing too on its own. You know, we gone from.
We have a Northern Lehigh Bulldog in here.
Oh, who's that?
I can't really. Jason Neff.
Jason Neff. Oh, yo, Jay, what's up, man?
But yeah, no, I'm just. You definitely gotta find something. You gotta have a hobby.
Right.
I think having something to do, something
No,
constructive,
do
really
you feel
helps.
the same way of that? What I was just talking about. No,
Yeah.
we're that first generation to experience the internet. You know, like nobody else before us. We're the only ones. We lived before there was internet. So when we would, you know, we wanted to go outside. We were playing with our friends. Our bikes. You know, if I saw the bikes at your house, oh, everybody's at your house now. So.
And I agree with you a lot.
And that's a lot depressing too. Going
is.
back to that.
To me, having that, and this is again why music is important to me. Having that actual interaction with a person
Yes.
is, I think, it's very important for the development of just you.
Yeah.
You know,
And you see a lot of it in the young kids. They're little bit-
self-isolating.
and a little bit awkward when they get into
Right.
public and they're with other, you know, like us. Shit. We were out behind freaking bowling alley. We were, you know, smoking cigarettes in smokers alley. You know, we didn't give, you know, like. But there's none of that today. It's all on the internet, and that's
And it's
a lonely. Internet's lonely, man.
It is, because you might be surrounded with people who think like you, but they're not actually there.
Right. Or you could be surrounded by a bunch of assholes that bully you, or you know, and these kids believe that shit. You know, they think that if it's on the internet, it's real. Like, no, that shit ain't real. Like, fucking throw that computer in the garbage. That ain't real.
I'm so I can tell you firsthand, like, I went the first 16, 17 years of my life.
Me too, without a cell phone. I do.
Without cell phone,
Yep.
without the internet.
Yep.
And then it just seemed things happen so fast.
Yep.
So, but I can remember, like, the first time I got on the internet, and I would go to Yahoo and type in, you know, whatever I typed in, and
Halle Berry's tits. No.
Anything that had to
Sorry,
do
Halle
with that
Berry.
subject was now in front of me.
Right.
I think the internet is great.
Porn.
That it literally puts
Everything
everything
At your fingertips.
at your fingertips. I also think that's what makes it bad.
Because it makes people dumb.
It's not that it makes people dumb.
Well, it doesn't make them want to work. I mean, does anybody know what a thesaurus is anymore?
Right.
Go into a library and open up a thesaurus and...
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a real question here. So what is the difference? What is the actual difference if you pick up a thesaurus and thumb through it and find what you want, or you go on the internet and you type in whatever you need to?
Well,
it's the same.
no, but
to me when it comes to that, it's the information.
I can just do this like right now and just be like, oh yeah, there was really no work done. Because you have it right on your phone. But now if you actually go down to the library, go open the freaking drawer with the thesaurus, thumb through it, okay, I gotta go here, then go grab your book, and then grab it. Put some work in. You put some work in. You feel a little bit accomplished.
But the people who don't want to do that work aren't going to do their work because are not going to not do it because they have the phone.
I feel
Those
like
are the same people that would just not do it.
true, but I also feel like phones. So when we would read a book or read it in a book, we would memorize it more, and it would stick. It would stick more. Now things ain't sticking because things don't need to stick because I have it at my fucking phone.
See now, and I respectfully disagree with that.
Well, then you want to fight?
And I'm saying I actually do. Listen to me. I actually do more reading and more research now that I can do it so easily.
See, yeah, I started getting into that, having the books on just hurts my eyes.
Well, no, see, I can't read a book on this. I
Yeah.
have.
On the tablet.
If you go upstairs and look at my nightstand, I have actual physical copies of books. When I read.
I can't do it with my eyes.
I can't. But like when I'm doing research for our show, I do it all here.
Right.
And to me, like the words that I read here, I'm still processing the words the same as if I were doing it off of a newspaper.
Right. I mean, yeah, I know. I see that, you know, there's a lot of pluses to it, but I just
there are definitely negatives, and
I think there's a lot of negatives with the internet, dude.
Right. There are definitely negatives, and the negatives being that, especially when we talk about anxiety and depression and these things.
I think the internet brought a lot of that
if
on.
somebody's getting bullied, they can't ever really now get away from it because they can come at you not only in the hours you're in school, they can come at you on social media or email you or text you or whatever. There's less of a buffer now.
Right. I feel like bullying has gotten really, I don't know, it just seems like it's gotten really bad since when we were a kid. Like, I mean, I remember a few times people would get bullied in school, but it would be like, you want to bully? Like, fuck you, let's fight. Or something like that. Like, you want to bully? Like,
to me, that's, and we're gonna be doing a show on that in the coming weeks. But for me, that's a two or threefold problem.
Yeah.
Number one, kids don't actually realize what they're saying can do actual harm.
Yeah.
I don't think they necessarily even intend it to be the way it's taken. Two, I think parents do a shit job.
Well, some people shouldn't be parents. That's
right.
Putting it out there right now.
When you see your kid exhibiting those behaviors, you don't go to the principal's office the next day and say, oh, my son wouldn't do that. No, you fucking own it. You did a shit job up until this point.
Yeah.
Fucking do your job.
I mean, there again, when we were kids, we would, mouth off to your parent, you were going to get fucking backhanded and be like, yo, shut, But nowadays, these kids are running around doing whatever. But that's getting off topic here.
Right.
I'm just saying, going back to where we are, the internet has created a lot of depression and anxiety because it isolates people way too much and gets them away from what reality is.
Do you think, though, that an equal amount of people have been helped by it because now they can be in easier contact with somebody who's actually going through what they're going through?
You fucking do this to me every time.
I'm just
every time.
This is part of it because
I
agree with you.
They do. The internet does help. So there is a plus and there is negatives. You just
right. So I think our job, I think everyone's job should be to mitigate as much as the bad as you can, and and absorb more of the positive.
There should be like a time limit on how many hours a day you can internet. Well, have a timer, like an egg timer, You can only have so-and-so of internet. Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I always pose this question when anyone says, oh, you're on your phone again. And I may be doing actual research. I may be watching a game.
Yeah, I know what you're doing on the phone.
I'm
in the bathroom.
I may be. But I'm saying, like, I may be actually, what's the difference if I'm sitting there watching the football game on my phone or on the TV?
No difference.
There's no difference. So, like, that's my point. But we got off on that because we were talking about music and stuff.
Right. But
so
I was just, don't you long for the days where you remember, like, maybe 10 years ago when the game was on, you bunch your buddies, maybe it's because we're older now and everybody just kind of split off. But, Sunday, a bunch of buddies got along, together, had some beers, maybe order some food, and just watch the game and drank some beers and ate some food
and that's the thing.
It seems like people don't do that anymore that much.
They don't, and I don't even hear of like people having Super Bowl parties much anymore either. I don't know.
I think COVID really fucked us up as a society. I think COVID really did a number on us. I truly think.
I think that's a lot of it too, and I think people are still reeling from that. I think there was a lot of anxiety and depression that went on with that.
It was our own government that did that. Shame on you, government.
I think people,
I think we should be hold these people accountable. That's what we should do. What do you mean? But, I want reprimands.
Yeah, well, we ain't saying that.
I want motherfucking money.
All we can do is get through what we've been dealt, man. I'm
always getting shafted one way or the other.
Life is.
I want some money. Show me the money. Show me the money. Show me the money.
Listen, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, and we weren't put here to be the hammer.
No. You're right.
So, with that being said, look, guys, go if you're feeling down, if you're feeling depressed.
What's the number?
Do something. 988.
988. Good job.
Do something though. Go check out a show. Go do something like that. You'll be surprised at the people you meet, and they're going to be able to tell you your story because it's their story too. Music has an undeniable way of bringing people together. It has an undeniable way of
turning people up.
Right.
Turn it up.
And again, it can be your voice when you can't speak.
Shit. I mean, crank that music up, and if you're listening to Slipknot, or you're listening to, okay, if you're listening to Britney
The
Spears,
Traveling Wilburys.
make your neighbors listen to it too. Fucking hey, turn it up and break off the dial and just rock out.
All right, guys. With that, that's gonna bring an end to another show.
See ya. Smell you later, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Be good to each other.
Peace.